and the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and it is Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for all the toy news, action figure news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interests you in quite the week this week. Not a ton of stuff, very wrestling heavy this week though. We're going to dive into all of that. Before we get into that, got to thank the sponsor of toy news this week. It is Jay'sToysAndGames.com. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 15%. Thanks to Jay'sToysAndGames.com for sponsoring the channel. How about that? Of course, it is the month of September. That means new Patreon giveaway. Did put up the August Patreon video over on my Patreon. Check that out. Maybe you won. Maybe you won. Just saying. Check out that video, of course, and all kinds of stuff over on the Patreon every single day. Plenty of videos as we've been fighting all these figures since San Diego Comic-Con. So many figures, so little time. Tons of unboxings over there, of course, on Patreon much earlier than traditional YouTube. You can also check out YouTube channel memberships if that is your thing. But it's time for the September giveaway, and we're nearing spooky season. Some may say we're already on it. With Todd on the couch, I'm in it every single day. But here we are today with the Patreon giveaway for the month of September. Casey Jones, Phantom of the Opera, Wolfman Raphael, NECA Universal Monsters. These will be given away to one Patreon member. So check out Patreon, follow the rules, all that kind of fun stuff. And that is the giveaway for the month of September. And of course, a little more housekeeping. Episode 25 of the Kyle Peterson Show podcast coming this Tuesday on Patreon YouTube channel memberships right now if you want an early look at that. Or I should say episode 24. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Episode 24. Another week later, episode 25. We're a quarter of the way through the podcast is what we're at. So check out the podcast. My wife Angie and I, we dive in this coming week into the Toxic Avenger. We dive into Happy Gilmore 2. We also dive into a few other things, try some new Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Oreos, and a whole lot of other shenanigans along the way. You'll find out all about Meals on Wheels, Todd McFarlane, and we got Meals on Wheels stories for days. So check that out. I never thought I'd say that ever, but here we are. But now we're going to dive into the toy news this week. Not a ton of stuff, but we got some bits and pieces here. Mattel been very quiet since San Diego Comic-Con, but this week, I guess last Saturday afternoon, I want to say, from over there in the UK, they did officially announce the Walmart exclusive Street Fighter line Series 3. So Series 3 shaping up to be Dominic Mysterio as Ken Masters. An interesting plot twist there. I guess with Rue being Rey Mysterio, you get a little yin and yang. I guess that's what they're going for with that one. One that's the easiest layup of all time, E. Honda as Yokozuna. That makes a lot of sense, obviously. And last but certainly not least, I'm torn on this one a little bit here. You know I'm an Ultimate Warrior guy. I'm also a Blanca guy, so I like Blanca. It makes a lot of sense. But we got Player 2 version of Ultimate Warrior Blanca, which leads me to believe they're going to, get this line going, and they're going to keep giving us some of these Player 2 ones. Obviously getting the most out of your molds. Obviously a very easy repaint. For me, I'm not sure if it was time for that repaint, but me being an Ultimate Warrior guy, I'll take all the Ultimate Warrior figures. So it is okay for me. However, I could see a lot of people like, well, it seems too early in the line to start getting some repaints. Is what it is, but those will be coming sometime in 2026. I think before the year's up, we're supposed to have Series 1 of the Street Fighter, so we'll see how that ends up going. But that's it for Mattel WWE news. Nothing else new this week. Nothing new on the AEW wrestling front either, so quiet over there on that side of the fence. But that leaves a lot to discuss about the retro wrestling figures and all the third-party companies that are going every single day, it seems like. And yes, including Power Town. We'll talk about them. Got to have an update on them as well. But we're going to start with the big rubber guys, of course. We do know this month of September, we got till, the 30th of September to get your pre-order in for Paul Ellering and, of course, the Nasty Boys. So it's going to be cool to get all the three of those in my collection. Hopefully, some more of these guys get coming out there. This week on the channel, we did unbox the Rock and Roll Express. Bad News Brown's been on the Patreon for quite some time. We're getting around to all of these ones there. They've had a couple of hiccups in their ship date. Seems like they're a month behind where they said. Hopefully they can kind of steer the ship or, tell us, hey, it's going to be this month for sure. And I think a lot of these companies, they should put the pre-order. If they say, hey, they're going to come September 2025, and that's what the factory's told them, put October 2025, because then if they come in September, we're like, wow, we're getting our figures early. It's all perception right there. Unless they're already doing that, then I guess you got to put November, but you know what I mean. But I think that'd be a good way for a lot of these retro companies to go. A lot of people are like, oh, what? They said it would be here in July, and now it's August 1st. And I do get that. And of course, you know, you get to the crazy links like Powertown has. But I would have liked to seen some more clarity on some of that. And I know you only know so much, and you never know what might happen. But maybe say November, come in October, and you look like a hero. That's what I'm saying for all these third-party lines. And speaking of third-party, I guess the winner this week of news would be Epic Toys. Some of the best retro figures in the game. Once again, we've been unboxing all of those on the channel. I think Thursday I posted Barbarian and Dr. Death Steve Williams. Ric Flair, Barry Windham have been on the Patreon for quite some time. They'll get to original YouTube one of these days, so stay tuned for that. But Epic Toys came in hot, and they made their name with tag teams. They're back at it with tag teams, and we're hearing a little bit of deja vu from the Big Rubber guys. We got the Nasty Boys ×2. So you're a hardcore Nasty Boys fan, your dollar only goes so far. Do you need these two retros? Do you need the Big Rubber guy? Where are you settling in on your Nasty Boy fandom? But we got two different versions coming from Epic Toys. I'm here for that. Nasty Boys, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Not quite Steiner Brothers, LOD, Midnight Express, of course, Todd McFarlane, some of those other ones. But next rung there, and definitely very name value with the Nasty Boys. So good to see them getting some more figures. We also saw the Islanders. And once again, Big Rubber guys have those coming this fall. We're going to get the Islanders from Epic Toys as well. I think those ones were supposed to be back all the way to the Cella days, which is wild to think about as well. And then we got the Killer Bees coming back out with a little bit more pizzazz this time around. You got their coach, you got some of that going on. So Killer Bees is a very good seller for Epic Toys in the past. It makes sense to get the most out of your molds, get a little more Killer Bee action. And of course, I'm sure we'll talk Striper when that time does come. Todd McFarlane from the couch. And then the one that kind of broke the internet a little bit, the Beverly Brothers coming to Epic Toys. A lot of people getting some love for those Beverly Brothers. Give me the Destruction Crew or Construction Crew. Every week I forget. I always come up with a different name for them. Remember their time in the AWA as well. Maybe we'll get repaints of those in the future. Who knows? But the Beverly Brothers coming to Epic Toys. And we talked last week about Title Run Toys announcing the Beverly Brothers. So it's a great Beverly Brothers race. Have to imagine the major wrestling figure podcast guys over there for the Big Rubber Guys line, maybe even Major Bendy's. We could see some Beverly Brothers in the future as well. One of my good buddies was actually trained by Wayne Bloom to be a professional wrestler. So shout out to Wayne the Trained Bloom out there. But it'd be interesting to see all this Beverly Brothers madness. Now we just need some genius figures to go along with the Beverly Brothers and maybe some of our Mr. Perfect figures. That wouldn't hurt either. But we got those all coming from Epic Toys and then Title Run Toys. So be interested to see if you're only going to get one. I have to imagine most people are going to get none. But if you have to get one, what Beverly Brothers? You're going to go with Epic Toys? You're going to go with Title Run Toys? You're going to go with both? Let me know in the comments down below. Title Run Toys this week also keep soliciting their Mike McGurk figure. Two variations of that one, as we do know. One of 500 on both of these. So only 500 made. Probably the right amount for a Mike McGurk, I would have to say. Both look okay for what they are. We did get some images this week, so check those out if you're after those. Last week, we talked about a new retro company coming on the scene. My Fandom Indie Stars, Josh Chernoff, who we actually unboxed Josh Chernoff's figure once upon a time on this channel. Check out that review if you want to. We did see him come in hot this week with a pretty big name from the indies, a guy that goes back to WCW once upon a time. It is Crowbar, so it is a modern-day Crowbar figure, will be the first figure in this line. A lot of people getting off on the scale of this one, saying, you know, the look and the scale of these maybe is a little bit off. I don't think it looks bad. I think it looks in the wheelhouse of a lot of the other companies, I would say. Some people are going crazy about Crowbar and his kind of wonky eye, but then Josh Chernoff did show some of the pictures saying, hey, that's how he looks. So it is what it is. I don't know. I think the retro market is very, very oversaturated. It's going to be very interesting where all this stuff does go. I hear the complaints or I hear the suggestions, whatever you want to call it, all the time in my DMs and my comments, YouTube videos, comments on my posts. Man, I really love that Barbarian. I just wish somebody would do it in the 6-inch, 7-inch scale for the Mattel Elite AEW Jazzwares scale. I hear that all the time. And I know it is more expensive for these companies to produce. There's very slim margins to go around. But I think if somebody can get in, if somebody can slide in there and get into that scale, yes, it's going to take some capital. Yes, it's going to take some work. But I really think with all the talent that's available, if somebody could do a Mattel-esque line. Now, Ringside Collectibles probably the leader at that at this point. I think that's a fair assessment. They've only had Hawk and Animal released, but they could do it. They got some more money maybe than the average Joe to put into these things. But I think there's a lot of opportunities for the Beverly brothers once again. The Barbarian, Dr. Death, Steve Williams, Barry Windham. There's so much talent out there, and I think there's money to be made. It's just finding that capital and finding the investment and then getting a good product and getting some figures out under your belt to get the reputation out there. It's not an easy process, and it's a process not a lot of people would like to take, I think, is the problem. But it would be fun, but I think we're stuck mostly with retros going forward. It's just a lot easier and cheaper to produce, and that's just the nuts and bolts of things right there. But that's my fandom indie stars, I guess, Series 1 Crowbar. Then we go over to our old friends, KWK, always turning and burning over there as well. Orient Express officially solicited up for pre-order right now. Looks good. I love a good tag team. Orient Express, once again, I talked about the Nasty Boys. I'd say they're a step behind the Nasty Boys, but still a very memorable tag team back in the day in the WWF especially. We got those coming from KWK. We also saw an update on Bull Nakano, doing a little tweaks, working our way till we get to production. Looking pretty good from KWK. Grapplers and Gimmicks, of course, Mitch over there, you know he doesn't sleep. He's always turning and burning as well. 1 of 800 USA Macho Man officially in stock, so head over to grapplersandgimmicks.com if you're after that Macho Man. Also saw the Sandman. Yep, our old buddy Hack. Sandman retro figure coming. Can we get some more ECW retro figures? I'd be here for that. We know the big rubber guys are doing it. We saw them in the Major Bendies. Now maybe some of the retro ECW talent would be pretty fun to have in the future. We'll see where that one goes. And then kind of, I guess we could say semi-wrestling related, but these could go with your street scene. These could go about wherever you want them to go. Figures Toy Company. This week, a police officer, state patrol, and SWAT team member. Put them with your Marvel Legends. Put them with your wrestlers. Put them as store security. Whatever you want to do, you could do that with these. Of course, FTC getting the most out of their molds as they've always done. That's kind of should be the motto of that company there. But those are up for on Amazon, FTC, all over the place, wherever you want. Price point is a little expensive on these. I wish there was a way for the price point to get knocked down a little bit more because I do think a lot more people would buy these. You know, you turn more units, but you get less profit. But by turning the more units, you get more profit. You guys know what I mean. I think there's some meat on the bone there. They just got to drop the price a little bit, if you ask me. So that's FTC. But now it's time for everybody's favorite, Todd. You've been calling for it. It's time for the Power Town Update.
Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering?
All right, it's time for the Power Town Update, and we got some news that's going to blow the roof off of everything. Or we have absolutely nothing to report on this week, unfortunately. As you guessed it, Power Town absolutely silent this week. No word from Greg Gagne. No word from Magnum. We talked about it last week. I ran into one of Greg Gagne's family members in my circle, the circle of trust, maybe. Who knows? No report back on that either. So who knows? Maybe Greg Gagne is missing in action. Maybe he's up and hiding up there in Mound, Minnesota. Is he hiding in one of those mounds? No idea. But the Remco's supposed to be here in September. Yeah, we've heard that about 10 other times. Every month, I think they've been here January, February, March, April, May, June, July, 2024, 2025, probably 2026. So no update on that one there. Last thing we've heard, I guess, is Magnum telling people on email, September for the Remcos, by Thanksgiving for everything else. As we all know, we're not going to hold our breath. I guess the biggest Power Town news this week was Jim Cornette's podcast covering the Power Town fiasco and giving his 2 cents and his dealings with Greg Gagne, using a lot of talking points that, let's be honest, we've been talking about for 2 years here on this YouTube channel. I hate to say I was the beginner of the Power Town discussion, but you guys know I was. I've been talking about this. It felt like things smelt funny for years at this point. Things just didn't add up. But I am a fool at the end of the day, as you guys know, because I'm still dishing my hard-earned money at it because I want the figures. I want this to work. I want to support. But man, as we all know, very hard to support in the future with Power Town, with all the shenanigans that have went on over the last couple of years. But we've covered them since day one here, and it shouldn't be a shock to most people that watch the toy news every single week with all these shenanigans. But man, they are really catching fire in different avenues in wrestling fandom for Jim Cornette, who, let's be honest, a pretty good vocal approach and a vocal reach in the wrestling community. When he's chirping on it, that's just going to make it much more out there for everybody in the whole world, other toy lines, other people. Going to be really tough for Powertown to recover from this one here. I don't know. It's a dangerous, dangerous game, as we do know. But no update. Fingers crossed next week. Fingers crossed in the weekly purchases next week. Maybe we have some Remcos. Not going to hold my breath on that. But now we got to move to some other non-wrestling news this week. How about a little New York Comic-Con exclusive from Marvel Legends? We're all geared up, jazzed up for Pythona. I can't wait for that one. But the Marvel Legends team came in very familiar to last year's San Diego Comic-Con exclusive in the packaging department. It is the Super Skrull. Now, once upon a time, a Build-A-Figure. This one's got a little bit of differences. I think it has an extra head in here. I think that Build-A-Figure one had 2 heads, if I'm not mistaken. And I think there's an extra head in here. I guess you could army build this, but I think there's only one Super Skrull unless I am missing something somewhere. As my memory from my reading days, there was only one Super Skrull. So not sure if this is one everybody needs. That's a good reason for it to be a convention exclusive, but it does look really good for what it is. And if you're after it, you're going to have to go to New York Comic Con and, of course, Hasbro Pulse down the line as well. We know how that goes. Move it over to Mattel, move it over to the Masters of the Universe, and we just unboxed Masters of the Universe Thundercats on the channel, Series 2. So it'd be interesting to see where that line goes with Transformers taking a little bit of that action. And then, of course, we know there's going to be a future DC crossover event in the future. You know that's going to happen. So Thundercats hopefully doesn't get lost in the mix of all this, because I am enjoying the figures for what they are. But we did see the Snake Layer officially come to an end. It did get extended for a couple of days, but that extension didn't help anything, unfortunately. Did not hit the final tier. That Masters team, they just can never hit that final tier for whatever reason. But we will be getting our Snake Layer from about a year from now. So stay tuned for that future unboxing on the channel. We also saw this week Jada Toys coming in with Big Bad Toy Store, coming in with a Frosty the Snowman figure. Interesting. We saw this, I believe, at San Diego Comic-Con. Even saw that before at a different convention, toy show, whatever it may be. Officially going to be a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive. Have to imagine around the holiday season is a pretty good time for that one. Got to think some pre-orders will be going up. I guess they're up already at Big Bad, but have to think a lot of people will be getting this around the holiday season, Christmas season, the winter season, whatever you want to call it. It is Frosty the Snowman. And if we know Jada Toys, we know they make very good figures. We've seen the Street Fighter line. We unboxed Scooby-Doo Series 1 on the channel this week. Check those out if you want some more Jada Toys. A little Mythic Legions. Last week we talked about, of course, the Jersey Devil, the Figure Obscura figure. This week they announced the Armory experience for Legion Con 2025. They did this in 2024 to a big success, apparently, because they're bringing it back here in 2025. So shows the pack you can buy. You can also go to the Legion Con event and make your own, create your own out of parts if that is your thing. So cool for those that do like that. Not going to be for everybody, and I think that's why it's a good thing to do for Legion Con. It's not one of those ones you need to release to everybody. It's a perfect time with leftovers selling on their website. That's always the plan there. So that looks pretty good. Fall Geek Out event at Target. And I geeked out at Target this week as I had quite the Target on my figure hunt video. Check that one out. Found quite a few things I needed. Fall Geek Out, Super 7, Snarf, and Lion-O Ultimate Deluxe Editions. We know that kind of sub-line there. We're getting it at a lot of Targets. We saw those go up for pre-order. A couple of Godzilla figures too, which we don't cover here on the channel. But so far, nothing for the Fall Geek Out I need to jump into, maybe that too. Last week it was Gremlins, and man, people taking me to task saying, you know, a Gizmo is a Mogwai, not a Gremlin. Well, yeah, it is, but the property is known as Gremlins. So if I'm going to talk about it and it shows Gremlins on the box, I'm going to say Gremlin. But obviously, I know the difference between it. I've been living that Gremlin life since the early 80s. Still living it, some may say. But man, it's just wild in the comments sometimes. But the Fall Geek Out, Gremlins, Thundercats, Godzilla, so far nothing. Have to imagine G.I. Joe. We know the 2-pack eventually this month. Also, some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have to be coming. That's always a part of the Fall Geek Out. So we'll stay tuned for that. But speaking of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles this week, we did see a pre-order going up next week for that Odie and Garfield. We saw those at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm still not super familiar on that. I guess it was like a comic crossover or something. A very cool I guess almost like an Easter egg 2-pack, you could say, for your Turtles setup. I will be picking this one up. We also saw a more recent edition of Turtles. So to Turtle Team over at NECA, Last Ronin. We've seen the Archies. We've seen the Stump Wrestling. We've, of course, seen the original cartoon series. Now getting into some of the other cartoons. Looks like pre-order's up next week. I'm still on the fence about these. They look cool. They look nice, but how many Turtle teams do I need? And I don't have quite the love for that Turtle team like I do the original cartoon team. So you got to make some choices every once in a while. We'll see how those go, see how those end up looking there. So that's it for NECA TMT this week. And that's about it outside of our friend Todd McFarlane on the couch. And Todd, what are you up to this week? You were in the Falkland Islands last week, then on my couch this week. Any deals, any news, anything going on? Nothing? You just were listening to Kenny Rogers? Oh, and we know where that goes. Is it the same song? Oh, same song. All right, let's roll it. And we've learned over the last couple of weeks, Todd McFarlane, a huge Kenny Rogers fan, aren't we all? We talk more about that in my podcast this coming week. We talk a little bit about Kenny Rogers' Western wear collection. But we found out that Todd, you know, he makes his music, doesn't make his music for money. Easy for me to say. He makes it for me. So Todd really telling us all, he does all these things, does all these action figures, comic books. He does it for himself. And if you enjoy them, you enjoy them, you enjoy them, that's a good day at the office as well. And I kind of live my life the same way, which we're kindred spirits in that way. I do all this stuff for me. It's fun for me. It's something to do. It's stress relief, whatever it may be. And if everybody else enjoys it, that's a good thing too. But unfortunately, we're not enjoying any Todd McFarlane news this week because nothing going on over there. So very quiet on the McFarlane front, very quiet on the AEW and WWE wrestling figure front. Not a ton of news right there, but man, it really does feel like the third-party wrestling companies are really carrying the news as of late. Be interested to see as we gear up for the holidays, we gear up for the end of the year, what Hasbro, what Mattel, what Todd McFarlane and the crew are going to bring our way. But that's it. That's the toy news this week. What interested you? What are you excited for? Are you still waiting for your Power Town? Ah, yeah, we all are. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell. We got videos every single day and then some. We got even more content for you on Patreon. Check out Patreon YouTube channel memberships for more content. Don't forget to thumbs up the videos. Always does help the channel. And like I said, subscribe to both my YouTube channels. 2 channels with content every day. Sir Paul64 on the X, the _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and the Kyle Peterson Show at gmail.com, which conveniently enough is the name of my podcast, The Kyle Peterson Show, every Tuesday, wherever podcasts are found, with video casts on YouTube. And you know what I'm doing? I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into another weekend.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?